Rotten Tomatoes is still at it. Their website is still a complete sham. It is a fraud. You cannot trust anything that they're putting on their website. And now they're doing it to Shazam. They've just updated their webpage for Shazam recently and changed it from showing the want to see score, which is 100% basically, to the audience score. And the audience score is 92%, so that's pretty good. It sounds like a lot of people liked Shazam, and 9,254 of them have put in a review, and 92% of them liked it. Or so Rotten Tomatoes would have you believe. That is clearly what their website says. User ratings, 9,254 of them, and it's 92% liked it. Except that is a complete lie. In the same way I've showed that they did this with Captain Marvel, and they've been doing this for every film. They are lying. Their user ratings are not however many people have put in a vote. Now, they've claimed that they are not going to allow people to put in a vote or a review before the film is released. Yet, they've got 9,254 votes just after the film was released, or just after they say the film was released. So, is this a really, really popular film and 9,000 people just put in reviews? Okay, that could be possible, but it really isn't. Okay, there are not 9,254 reviews on Rotten Tomato for Shazam, and there isn't a 92% liked it rate for reviews on Shazam. If we go back a couple of days and see what the Shazam page looked like, it said that 8,364 people want to see the film. So that's how many people click the button want to see, and that's all you get now. You used to get a percentage showing how many did and did not want to see it, but they hid that after Captain Marvel. So you don't know how many people said they don't want to see the film, and you couldn't vote after the 24th or 25th or 26th of February. So there'll be some votes in there that don't want to see the film, but we can't see them anymore, okay? But it only got 8,000 in total saying they want to see the film. Now, if we go back to what we currently see, it claims that there are 9,254 people voting that they actually like the film and they've seen the film and they put a review in. Now, if 92% of them liked it, what is 92% of 9,254 users? Okay, so if we take 92% of 9,254, we get 8,514. So there were 8,514 people that Shazam's Rotten Tomatoes page claims have said that they liked the film. But again, if we go back a couple of days, they've coincidentally got 8,364 people saying they want to see the film. How many people said they don't want to see the film? Well, we don't get to see that, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 or 700 people. How do we know it's 600 or 700 people? Because that's the 8%. Okay, this 92% liked it audience score, it's not 92% liked it, it's 92% said they want to see the film. This is the want to see score right here, is what we actually see on the screen. So this is what Rotten Tomatoes has been doing all along. I noticed this during the Captain Marvel debacle where they pretended to do some big global change on their webpage to update it, but they absolutely did not. All it exposed, especially when they deleted the 54,000 votes, was what they were doing was they were conflating the audience score and the want to sees all in one big lump to make their website look like it's far more popular than it is. And so what happens when a film moves from the want to see period to the audience score period is they start the audience score off with the want to sees. Now, you could kind of hide that in the past because you had a legitimate want to see score. People could vote if they did or didn't want to see the film, and so when the film then officially opened, the audience score would not have 100% there. It could have a real 50%, 60%, whatever the percent was. It looked legit because it wasn't 100%. But what you've got now is every film from now on is going to basically open to 100% audience score, because you haven't been able to say you don't want to see a film after the end of February, whatever the exact date was. I think it was the 25th of February. So Avengers does have a score less than 100%, Avengers Endgame. So Endgame, if they keep this up, will not open to 100%, but it could open to 99% as more people vote they want to see it. So it may not get 100%. But every film that hasn't been listed on Rotten Tomatoes after the date they stop people being able to say they don't want to see a film, it will open to 100%. Okay, this is what they're doing. They're grabbing all of the votes for want to see and do not want to see, and they're putting that in the audience score. And they're pretending they're two separate things. They even said that people find it confusing and don't know the difference between the want to see percent and the audience score percent. But what they've actually been doing is using the same number for both. So they're completely lying when they're saying people found this confusing, so we no longer show a want to see score. The audience score is the want to see score at the start. Now that you can actually vote and actually put a review in, this score will change and there'll be legitimate reviews. But there are somewhere in the neighborhood of 9,000 quote-unquote reviews in there that are not reviews. Okay, they are want-to-sees and a couple of do not want-to-sees. But obviously the want-to-sees are heavily in favor because they banned people being able to say they don't want to see this film. And so it's 92% because only 8% were able to say they don't want to see the film quite a while ago. Okay, so that percent should be lower. Now, I'm not saying whether the film's good or bad. I like the film. I thought the film was quite good. And 92% sounds a bit high, to be honest, but I thought it was a good film and it's worth seeing. But that's not really the point. Okay, their complete website here, all of Rotten Tomatoes, is just a fraud. Okay, they're pretending they've got 9,254 votes for this film. They don't. They don't have 9,254. They might have a couple of hundred. There's a little bit of a discrepancy between the screenshot I've got from a couple of days ago and the current amount. So there may be a couple of hundred real votes in, perhaps. But there's about 9,000 dodgy votes, 9,000 votes that aren't real, and most of those 9,000 are want-to-see votes because you couldn't say you don't want to see it. You can't put in votes when people can only vote one way and show a percentage there. Look, it's 92%. That's ridiculous. Now, they're owned by Fandango, and yes, people are saying things like, oh, Disney bribed Fandango and Fandango's stack with ex-Disney employees, blah, blah, blah. Well, 35% or maybe 25% of Fandango is owned by Warner Brothers. So here is the clear conflict of interest. Okay, Warner Brothers obviously distributes and made Shazam. Warner Brothers owns Fandango, or part of Fandango. Fandango owns Rotten Tomatoes. So here is the real direct conflict of interest. But Fandango obviously sells movie tickets. It wants every movie to do well. So Fandango's own interest is to have every score high because that'll get more people to see films anyway. So this right here is a complete sham. There are not 9,000 votes for Shazam right now. There's maybe a couple of hundred, maybe. I doubt there's even any. I think the discrepancy between the numbers I have here is because I don't have an up-to-date screenshot the second it actually clicked over. I bet it would be very close to whatever the number was. So if this just turned over, I wouldn't be surprised if there was something like 9,251 votes for want to see. Okay, or total votes, I should say, close to want to see. Again, the want to see number, if 92% of that is legit, then somewhere in the neighborhood of 8,513 or 8,514, that's what we calculated it needed to be. So the number here is meaningless. They're making the website look like it's far more popular than it really is, and it's not. This is why they deleted the 54,000 votes for Captain Marvel, which was widely documented everywhere. I have some videos on that. The 54,000 votes they removed from Captain Marvel in one big lump. They weren't votes for Captain Marvel. They were the want-to-sees and the do-not-want-to-sees. They purged all of them out once they had some other votes to cover it, and that brought the total vote number down to something like 4,000 or 6,000. And that's basically what happened there. They just ripped out all of the want-to-sees at some later date. Now, that's probably what they're going to have to do here, but maybe they hope no one's really watching Shazam. But what it's evidence of, once again, is there has been no site update. There has not been an 18-month wide site update that they claimed was happening that just happened to roll out for Captain Marvel. This once again shows they've updated nothing. They've removed the button that said do not want to see, and that is all they've done. They got rid of the button that allowed you to vote that you don't want to see a film. They've changed nothing on the back end. They've done absolutely nothing else. They're still using the want to sees to populate the audience score. And once again, their claim was that people found the audience score and the want to see score confusing. They didn't understand what the differences were. But we can see here there are no differences. Rotten Tomato is using them both interchangeably. The starting audience score is the want to see score. They just happen to hide the want to see score now so that you get a blank little bit. It says there is no audience score yet, and then you get to see the want to see score as soon as they decide it's time to see it. So complete frauds. What more can you say, really? Nothing unexpected, but once again, they're just proving that they haven't done any kind of update to their webpage. They just did all of those things to cover for Captain Marvel, to ensure Captain Marvel's opening weekend wasn't hurt, and it worked. Captain Marvel's weekend wasn't hurt, its opening weekend. And how can I finish things up without talking about Captain Marvel? Well, here it is. Here it's rotten again. Okay, it's dropped back down to 59%. According to Rotten Tomatoes, Captain Marvel is rotten, according to the audience. They've tried all kinds of things to prop it up past 59%. It dropped down to 59% about a week ago. They got it back up to 60 by deleting more votes. Now it's propped back down to 59. So just waiting right now for the next deletion phase. We should be able to notice that some votes will disappear, and we'll see it prop back up to 60% if they keep doing this as they've done before. Now, maybe they've given up on touching Captain Marvel because its box office run's basically over now. Okay, the first 2 weeks, films make their money. It's into its fourth week now. It's essentially done. It got something like $1.6 million the other day. It's getting $1 million, $2 million a day. So there's nothing really to protect anymore. So maybe they won't bother deleting votes and bumping it back up to 60%. But as we speak right now, as I speak right now, 59%, it is officially rotten with the audience. Once again, Captain Marvel, even with all of the protection everybody has tried to put for the film, they still can't keep it above 59%. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.